topics in sports entertainment.
Pro wrestling talk from the four corners of parts unknown. This is That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. I am Jason Marchuka. Brian has chose to let down our listeners by not showing up this night, this podcast recording. That is 2 times in 3 weeks. And while there is a open door policy for him to return, we'll just have to wait and see when that is. Ironically, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the NBA finals that are happening as we are recording, much like if you heard the Double or Nothing reaction video / podcast that I did. That was actually Brian's idea. And then he backed out, which I'm sure had nothing to do with the Boston Celtics in the Game 7. So, Brian, if you are listening, fuck you for not being here again. And Warriors in 6.
And this is not edited because that was mentioned a few times during the Double or Nothing review. This is unedited.
No edits.
It's no edits. Just it is what it is.
No production.
We're live, pal.
And I do have a correction that I said something in that podcast that needs to be corrected. I made the comment that if you purchase something, you should get what you buy. Of course, that's what it should be. But in pro wrestling, there's 4 words that always make my statement true, even though it potentially could happen. Joe?
Card subject to change.
And that wasn't even rehearsed. So Kevin's here, Joe's here, Brian can go fuck himself, and let's find out what we are wearing.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
So I went to AEW Dynamite this week at the LA Forum, and if you go to Dynamite, they always have like a city-specific shirt, and I picked up the AEW logo tee in Lakers colors, purple and gold. Joe, I know you're going, and Brian, in a couple weeks, unless something magically comes up again and he can't go to Dynamite with you. So you'll probably have an option to pick up a red and white, like a Red Wings color.
I do have Brian does owe me a shirt from the WrestleMania trivia. So hey, that could be the one I get.
But everything's card subject to change with that guy. So whatever. What are you wearing this week?
Well, I'm wearing in honor of the 33rd anniversary, June 2nd, 1989, summer movie Magic. No Holds Barred was released in theaters, gave us the term Battle of the Tough Guys, Zeus, and always remember Jockass, the Rip 'em shirt. Man, that movie's terrible, but in such a good way. So I am honoring on June 2nd, 1989, Rip.
What was Rip's last name?
Taylor?
Was it Taylor?
It was just Rip.
Oh, just Rip. No last name.
He was just like, Rip
like
thinks
Madonna.
you're weak. Rip doesn't think you deserve to breathe.
Like Cher. Cool.
Yeah, Rip is awful.
Kevin, what you got?
I think I wore this like a month ago. I'm wearing it again. We're gonna get to it in a little bit. MJF, the past, present, and future of professional wrestling. Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about that promo already. I've watched it like 10 times. Oh my gosh. I goosebumps every time. I want to know what it was like live. I have a million questions for you. But I was looking through my shirts and I was like, yep, I gotta go anti-J.
Come on, Kevin. You didn't look that hard. I knew what you were going to, we all knew what you were going to wear this week. Come on. Come on. We're not going to talk about Double or Nothing. If you want to hear what I thought about it, go into the archives, check out my reaction review video / podcast. It's on our YouTube channel. Just search That Wrestling Podcast or in the podcast feed. So CM Punk is the new AEW champion, and nobody gives a shit today. MJF stole the show at Dynamite. I was there. Not sure if you heard that or not. You know who wasn't there? Brian, much like he's not here this week. We'll start with you, Joe. You didn't watch it live, I know that, but you also stayed away from spoilers, right?
Yes, I was about 30 minutes behind. It was a late day at work, end of the year stuff. So I started around like 8:40. So I watched it and I was avoiding your text messages the whole time because I knew something was going to happen, especially said MJF is next. And it's definitely a work, but he was right. He's the only one there that makes them feel. That was like the main thing I got from there. The main idea, the theme was he's the only one on the entire roster who actually makes you feel something. It's not just spots, it's an emotion. So bravo to him. The whole thing was amazing.
Kevin?
I want to say everything like Joe just said, word for word, because everything you just said, every chant, every clap, every boo, every cheer, goosebumps during that whole day. I wish you guys could see it right now. I'm getting goosebumps. You can kind of see my hair. Like just even thinking about that 8 minutes. How long was it? 8-9 minutes. Fantastic.
7 minutes on TV, but if you find the unedited version on YouTube, it's 8:11 because after they went dark, CM Punk hobbled out and it wasn't like a run. Like he had no sock or boot on his right leg, but his kick pad was still on. And he was kind of hobbly and wobbly. And he was like, well, it was kind of it looked like it was like, what are you doing, man? Like, why the fuck are you doing this? Now, obviously, it's a work. Period.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care because it got me interested. Sitting in that arena, I had no idea what I was seeing, honestly. There was that shot of MJF where he was looking at the camera in the corner. Well, I was behind it. Now, I knew where I was, but I wasn't wearing anything crazy like to stand out. I left my like neon hunting jacket at home, but sitting in the arena, I was just like, holy shit. And much like what you guys said, everything he said was true. At the beginning of that promo, those fucking idiot crowd fans were chanting, shut the fuck up. And then at the end, they were chanting his name. I wasn't chanting, shut the fuck up. Because I'm not a stupid Mark idiot fan like a lot of that crowd was last night. Here's the thing.
He called out for. That was the best.
Yes. Everything he said. Everything he said was true. And, I want to buy a Burberry scarf now. I literally texted my wife. I'm like, I want a Burberry scarf. And then
some of my students have the Burberry mask that they wear in school, and I'm like, all I'm thinking is MJF. I know they're not thinking it, but I am.
Is that like a pattern Burberry?
It's a designer brand.
It's design. It's
expensive. That color.
No. I found out. So my wife's like, okay, that's all she wrote back. Not understanding where the hell that came from. And then I went on Burberry's website today. They have many different colors of that pattern. Also, a $450 price tag.
Yeah.
So,
which several people in the front row. I don't know.
Oh, those idiots! No. They couldn't afford a Burberry scarf. They bought the mock one off Pro Wrestling Tees.
Burberry.
But I'm not like one of those. So if I do this, I'm buying the real thing. But what's cool? They have like socks and short sets and backpacks and things that are in the thousands of dollars, like $1,000 backpack with that design. And it's awesome. And I love backpacks a lot. I have a lot of them, but I may buy the scarf, but anyway, besides that, that's besides the point. So, I got home last night or Wednesday night and I watched it on DVR. And of course, like I said, they cut it after he called Tony a fucking mark. And when it happened in the arena, I was like, oh my God, please let that make air. Sensors were ready. Obviously, when he told the guy, so when he said, don't count me down, there was a PA ringside doing like the 10, 9, 8. And that's when he said, don't count me down, you piece of shit. Obviously, that was the cue that the F-bombs were coming so that the sensors would be ready. Look, there are so many layers to this. One, it was said 2 weeks ago that when the LA trip happened, a lot of Warner, HBO, Discovery execs were going to be in the crowd. How do you get your product to stay when there is a big merger? Wrestling usually goes by the wayside. We found that out with WCW. How do you do that? You do something on your show that makes these execs that may or may not know about wrestling say, wait, was that supposed to happen? That's the first layer. Another layer I found out when I got home and watched it on TV. After they came back from commercial, no mention, nothing.
Right.
Third layer. Today, MJF is taken off the website on the roster page. All of his merch is removed. Gonzo. And finally, the last layer to this whole ordeal. 2 ex-WWE guys were up next. Miro made his return against Johnny Elite. Now, that is some very... I mean, like I said, between watching it last night, looking at Twitter today, and just seeing all these different things, I don't know where this is going next, Kevin, or we'll go with you, Joe. Where do you think this is going to go next?
Well, I think your layers were great, except for the last one, because no matter who was next, it was always going to be 2 ex-WWE guys were next. So you had me until there. It's like, oh, coincidence. You got 2 ex-WWE guys. You're always going to have that. Where this is the reverse summer of Punk, because it's going to be the summer of MJF. That's where this is. We already said they've been playing this is where I'm predicting it. And it doesn't mean I'm right, obviously, but we've already said CM Punk is like the John Cena of AEW. Who's going to be the CM Punk of AEW? It's MJF. It's building towards that. CM Punk is not going to turn heel. We want him to. It's not going to happen. CM Punk is going to be, I am grateful to be here. Hustle, loyalty, respect, Pepsi Cola. But MJF is going to leave for a little bit like CM Punk did. They're recreating it. He gave the pipe bomb last night. Now it's going to be he quit, but he really didn't. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be hearing him coming back, and they're going to have a face-off going into whatever, like all out. It's going to be an all summer thing.
And then
Kevin?
with FTR next to CM Punk. I'm glad. And this is no disrespect to Wardlow. Kudos to him. I found the match online. I did not watch it live. The pay-per-view, because I was in a cabin.
That's another reason why we're not talking about the pay-per-view.
Yep.
Pay-per-view, because these 2 guys didn't even watch.
But this is the thing.
asleep.
This is the thing. I did see the match, and it was perfect because it kind of, I was going to say the leash on between those guys was broken, but it made Wardlow a star. He came out yesterday, which was fine. He should have came out looking like $1 million. I don't know who he wrestled. It was the squad. It was
JD Drake.
Yeah, it was just a little bit odd.
That's how it was supposed to be. Especially he was a bigger guy instead of the smaller local talent.
Oh, it was a dud. It didn't do him any justice, but in defeat, skyrocket MJF. Boom. Like, I think Joe mentioned like the summer of Punk, right? With MJF, with those execs in the crowd, I have to imagine they turned and were like, he's talking about you? Tony, he's talking about you. Like, the blurred lines. Like, I'm so excited. And it came at a perfect time because on Wednesdays I'm dual watching. I usually watch AEW 1 hour late because Survivor's on. But I was live for the first time in a while, and I was glued to that TV 2 hours. And it was a fantastic Dynamite from start to finish. I thought it was a great Dynamite. But all I can think about, little thing here, Chris Jericho, little thing here, return of Miro, is MJF. He goes away for a couple weeks. Sweet. Let him pop up somewhere. Is he going to go after the belt? Who knows? Who's he going to go after? There's so many factions. Doesn't need anything like that. And that's the exciting part. But we're all going to wonder, when is he going to pop up? It cannot be next week. There's no way.
No,
No
I
way.
think he should go away for a little bit, and then whether he shows up on the Indies or wherever, it doesn't matter. And they could say, you breached your contract, you're suspended, you went to MLW, we don't have a working agreement, blah, blah, blah. I feel like this is also potentially going the way of Austin McMahon. However, Tony Khan, awkward as fuck on the microphone. He came out before the show started last night.
Oh, geez.
And said something like, "Love, yeah, LA," and then walked away. And I'm like, there were people sitting behind me. I'm like, he is the most awkward person ever. So obviously he can't be the Vince McMahon type on camera. And I don't think we'll ever see Tony. I don't want to say that. Joe, your thing is you can never say 100%. I don't think we'll ever see Tony Khan in the ring, but we know how he loves his wrestling figure collection. Maybe he does end up getting in for a match, but what I think realistically, if it's going to be Austin McMahon and Jace, Tony Khan will just keep having the ex-WWE guys fight his battle, which then sets a whole nother thing into spiral, because with all the original AEW guys, a friend wrestling, I think is what MJF called it. And it was, again, my notebook, lots of notes of things about how this could go. Whether it is the Summer of Punk, whether it is the John Cena Punk rivalry redone, which Punk has been recreating, all the Bret Hart karaoke stuff. Who's to say it doesn't go down that route, like Joe said? And whether it's Austin McMahon, I don't know. But overall, this whole situation last night got me to care. You guys know I'm a WWE guy and I like AEW, but I had kind of lost interest in a while. But now I'm back, and the feel in the arena was different. It felt like a big indie show. Mm-hmm. Big is in the sense of where it was. WWE just feels big overall. Granted, the last WWE event I went to was WrestleMania. So there's a couple house shows coming up later in the summer that we'll see, if I feel the same way, like WWE is this big monster, if AEW is like the small indie. I joked and I called it AEW to somebody, and then they thought that was kind of funny. But Kevin, I know you said you had a lot of questions about the show. What do well, Joe, if you have anything too?
You hit it right off the bat. My first question I was going to ask, how's the atmosphere? Because fans looked like they were going crazy at certain points. And then it was like kind of like stale at times, like a weird, awkward, let's show Vince Vaughn right now. Let's show Macaulay Culkin through two people's shoulders. Hey, there you are. Like, but the atmosphere looked very cool. The venue looked very cool. Like, from your perspective, because it looked like you had great seats from the photos that you were sending us. Like,
of course,
people you were around, were they, respectful? Sometimes people can be assholes.
No, you know what? That's the thing about AEW. There were really no assholes, which is great. When I bought my seat, I made sure at the time to buy a seat where nobody was sitting right next to me. And I lucked out because nobody came in those two seats next to me, which was awesome. Nice. Now, I'm a guy that always has to sit on the end. I'm an aisle guy. Now, granted, that means when people get up, I have to get up. So there was these three idiots in my row that, kept getting up and, whatever it was, what it was. But, I got there around 3:30 local time. The dark matches started at 4 and Dynamite started at 5. Now, the Forum, when they have big events, they usually have a merch tent or merch trailer in the parking lot, which is cool. Like, if you want to go buy stuff, you don't have to take it in, carry it around. You just take it back to your car. That trailer basically had a lot of figures, autographed figures, just regular figures, and to the like. Now, they had like the stickers and some of the t-shirts, but not all. So if you go into the Forum, like in the concourse, they have small merch areas, but the lines are just fucking like almost all the way around the arena. It's a joke. So I go find my seat and I'm like, I want to get that purple shirt, and I didn't want to wait in line. in the concourse, but they also had a merch tent, like because the Forum has an outdoor concourse as well, so you can walk around the outside. You get your ticket scan, go around the outside, or go inside. So they had a booth set up outside, and I got in line, and that line took maybe 10 minutes. The other line probably took an hour, like the inside line. But I went in, 10 minutes, $40 a shirt, man. They're just making people grab ankles, man. If you have like a family of 4, holy shit. So overall, great experience as far as atmosphere. The people, like I said, no real assholes, no, trying to take over the show chance. People in my section, there was just, I think every wrestling show, something happens and you hear some idiot, by God, that man has a family. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Well, speaking of that, like, did JR get like cheered when he got introduced out?
Of course he did.
Who got
couldn't wear a fucking sport jacket? Fucking Skechers on. Fuck. I'm saying fuck a lot. Sorry.
The entrance looked cool. Updated entrance. It looked
because
cool.
It was more flat. It wasn't like an elevated stage. It was there, and then it was flat, and then there was like a little ramp. So I wish Brian was here, but unfortunately, he had a work thing. But there was a lot of just, there's fire and there's smoke and lighting and just staging. And I was right there, so I got to see all the, when they would come out through the back. And overall, though, like I said, the atmosphere was great. And, AEW, a lot of snarky fans, but no issues to my knowledge. But it was at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
If this was a 7:00 show, who knows?
So a lot of people weren't drinking those special AEW themed alcoholic beverages, except for the CM Punk Pepsi on ice, which is actually twice as much as the normal cup of Pepsi you could get in those.
They had drinks.
Yeah, it's cool.
Based off of AEW talent. Let me pull up the photo I sent.
And it peaked in 2014. Oh,
wow. Okay, so the CM Punk was straight up Pepsi on the rocks. Scorpio Sky was something strawberry gin and tonic. I can't read that.
Indigo strawberry gin and tonic.
The Thunder Rita, Casamigos Blanco Margarita. The Jade Cargill overrated. That's vodka, OJ, and Blue Curaçao.
You said wow to mine.
Curacao. I don't know. And then the Jurassic Express, Jack Daniels, and Pepsi Saurus. So very cool, very fun. But I just had a Diet Pepsi. That wasn't on the wrestler menu.
We got a CM Punk fight.
No. I was very when they announced the main event. I'm like, this sucks. Holy hell! Daniel Garcia and Jon Moxley was awesome live.
That was awesome.
I don't know how it played on TV, but man, it was good.
Yeah,
it played great on TV.
I thought Garcia was gonna die at certain points. Like, he's so little and his body kept on bending.
I thought Moxley was gonna run out of blood at one point too.
Gosh. In the montage where they just kept on like flipping over in another submission, I'm just like, holy moly. Like, there's a point where we saw so much Daniel Garcia week after week after week, but like every match he has is damn good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like every one.
Surprising. Like I said, for a main event in LA, Scorpio Sky wasn't even on the show. He's an LA guy, where they filmed Dark and Kazarian had a match. A Death Triangle had a match. I got a really good photo of them that's posted on our Facebook page for the show at That WrestlePod. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in a very quick 3 hours. They said the Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter match didn't really do anything for me. That like 55-man tag match with Darby and Drax. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. After that match, they're walking back. The good guys are walking back up the ramp. And Christian was carrying the tag belts for Jurassic Express. He's their fucking caddy. Marco didn't even have to do that shit. This guy is an all-time great, and you got him carrying the fucking belts. Come on. I'm not even a big Christian fan, but he is now Christian
Virgil.
Sucks. Wardlow had a great reaction. You know, like I said, I'm pretty high up on Wardlow now. I mean, he's a Cleveland guy, but he worked at the Pittsburgh Indie I used to go to all the time. Him and Britt Baker both came from the IWC, International Wrestling Cartel. So it's very cool to see those guys get in the love. And that merch trailer I was telling you about, Kevin, I almost bought a Wardlow autographed figure, but I didn't feel like
$100.
So much. Yeah, it was about $100. Like, there's a big fan fest this weekend, and Britt Baker's going to be there, and I was going to take some stuff, but I don't want to have to drive to the airport, Marriott or Sheraton or wherever the hell the fest is, and dealing with the people. And they had a Britt Baker figure too, but I'm like, nah, I'm good. Let
me ask you this: how long do you think Britt and Adam will carry their belts?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Little odd. I thought it was a little odd
because you can't defend them.
Yeah, I thought
it's a tournament. It's like having the Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy, and they're carrying championship titles for a non-championship. They won a tournament to memorialize Owen Hart finally. But why have it like that? Makes as much sense as having the TNT champion on TBS every week.
And the TBS champ on TNT.
Yeah, you've already said that numerous times, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. I wanted to mention that. I'm like, what was the reaction of like them having belts? And did you pop or did you cringe when Regal said blood and guts a la War Games? Because I called it that would happen.
I'm not going to lie. I missed that when it happened. I don't know if I was checking email or something, but I missed that. I haven't watched the whole show yet on TV, so I do plan to go back to that. But look, Blood and Guts is going to be cool. You guys are going to be there if Brian decides to show up.
He has the tickets.
I'm not. I'm jealous.
No, Brian has the tickets. So if he decides to no-show, then I'm just going to be sitting there going, hey, let me in.
Well, they always say the arena sold out. It wasn't sold out last night. I mean, it was close, but not really. I missed that. The Jade Cargill nonsense on the ramp.
Yeah, they could have got rid of that too.
They should have had Athena join Jade and the baddies with publicist Stokely Hathaway. Come on, get the fuck out of here, publicist.
I just felt bad for everything that had to follow the promo, but then people finally got up for Moxley. And Garcia. I think everything in between there was kind of like, eh. And then when Regal said blood and guts, I went, ugh, why? Why do you have to continually recreate NXT?
Because Tony Khan's not original.
I thought it was funny.
And it makes you go, but I thought it was stupid. And I'm like, Regal, you're better than this, because you know that they're just saying they're using you to announce it because it's a ripoff of War Games anyway.
Point,
I'm excited that it's happening at the show I'm going to, but
unless Brian decides has a work thing on a Wednesday.
Well, people do work on Wednesdays. I'm not going to, but people do work on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Warriors at 6, Brian. Anything else about the show, Kevin?
Anything after? Anything after?
Yes.
Like a match or anything?
Dark match.
What did it end on TV? And was that it when Jericho and Eddie came? There was like a brawl at the end.
Yeah.
So Jericho and his guy went away, and Moxley was like just laying there, and Eddie's just kind of like waiting. He's like, it was one of those things where he's like, "Okay, Mox, get up." So they get up, and then you could tell Eddie's like waiting for something. And he goes and gets the microphone. Now, Justin Roberts was in an all-white suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they kept daring him, like, why don't you get in the ring? And Mox is covered in blood. So, like, Robert's like, no. So they give him the mic, and then Eddie goes, okay, play Wild Thing now. And then they played Eddie's music. He's like, what the hell? And then they turned it off, and there was just silence. And he's like, and then he puts the mic up to talk. They play Wild Thing. It was like, I mean, it was very back and forth. And then they they did like a pose thing where Eddie was like, yeah, let's do this. And Mox is like, no. And he's like, come on, let's do this. Like, very just fun stuff. Like, I would love to see those guys in a reality show. I mean, because I think they're real friends. That definitely comes out on camera. But that was the extent of, post show. Normally it's been Punk, it's been Eddie. I think Regal did some stuff recently, but I'll take it.
With Danhausen.
Oh yeah. No Danhausen.
The painted up waif cursed him.
Right. So, Joe, I know you and Brian might be going to the Detroit show. It'll be a great time. And if you are
for people who are guaranteed to go,
AEW is coming to your town. Go check it out. It is a lot of fun. And yeah, I was on the fence. I am a proud card carrying member of the AEW Galaxy now. So,
but you've been to an AEW show. We went to Revolution together. So why?
Yeah.
Is it because the product's gotten kind of?
I think I was just having issues with the product, but being there live, and I think that it just opened my eyes a little bit. That for whatever. I mean, Christ, I went to Dynamite on the Jericho cruise. 2 years ago. So
yeah, that's
it's
different
not like I
though.
haven't been to a show,
that's a special occasion.
But on that one, Paige and Omega won the tag belts. It was a very cool experience. But like I said, I think I had just lost touch with the product. I just lost interest. And, the Sidemore Guys movement, ex WWE nonsense, Bret Hart karaoke. I just wasn't feeling it. But I'm pretty pumped to see what happens next. I'm hoping Chris Jericho gets his head shaved. I think that could be fun.
He's totally going to. That's obviously the plan, because that's the only time you do a hair match is when someone's definitely going to cut their hair. As long as he doesn't pull what Kevin Nash did to him, if you remember that. Do you remember when it was Jericho versus Nash, the hair versus hair match on Raw?
No.
Okay, I remember. And because Jericho mentioned this in his book. Nash had to cut his hair for his role in The Punisher because he was playing like Ivan the Russian.
I'm the only person that loved The Punisher. I loved that movie.
Right.
Loved it.
Well, he also had to have bleach blonde hair. So Nash came to the ring with long, super bleach blonde hair when he wasn't that bleach blonde before. So Jericho was ticked because he's like, it's a guarantee now who's going to lose, and it takes away this special moment of there. So yeah. I think that it's pretty much setting up for that. So back to me knowing about Jericho with his books, but he's definitely getting his haircut. Nerd, I read.
So I'm looking forward to that. Did they say on TV when that match was going to happen?
It's going to happen at the in July at the Bash at the Beach.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's happening in July. It's happening after Blood and Guts. It's going to happen in mid-July at the Bash at the Beach. And then Battle of the Belts is coming back, but it's going to be in Grand Rapids in August
for
Rampage.
You guys should go for the sake of this podcast. But Brian will miss it because then he'll have some sort of
Grand Rapids isn't exactly close to us.
I don't care. Do it. I went to the fucking Bahamas for...
you poor baby!
I'm reaching.
I had to go to the Bahamas
for Dynamite for a podcast.
You know what?
I'm actually 2 years away.
I'm actually ticked at you for last night because when you sent us that text message going, "Oh, Twippy, moment of the year, Cody,"
it was Brian.
Whatever. It was Brian who did it, but it made me mad at you because I went, Jason was at both. You were live in person for Cody's WrestleMania return and the promo. So the two biggest live things that happened in wrestling, you had one in Texas, one in California, and you just happened to be at both of them. You jerk.
And I'm going to Saturday Night's Main Event next month in Sacramento, which is just another name for a live show.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
exactly.
like, I don't think anything's going to happen there, but hopefully with your hot streak, SummerSlam, something will happen. Bring that hot streak to SummerSlam so we can be a part of it.
So let's see, what can we predict?
Forever.
Okay, so let's predict what big moment, Twippy-worthy moment could happen at SummerSlam.
All right, let's go. Who wants to go first?
Randy Orton breaks the record for title wins when he beats Roman? Question mark.
That is going to happen in SummerSlam, yeah.
So Randy Orton, no, it won't be Randy Orton because he's only at 14.
John Cena returns and beats Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in the big, highly anticipated rematch from last year's SummerSlam that Kevin and I got to go to.
That could be one. Okay, so that's
you
your
spit
prediction.
that out pretty good.
I'm on some very high energy drinks right now. So
is it the Skittles flavored?
That was round one. Now I'm on a C4 strawberry watermelon ice. I have my banana grape body armor Kobe edition in the fridge. And I just ordered on Amazon the Ghost energy drink, Swedish fish flavored. So that'll be been pretty hopped up on energy drinks.
So here's my prediction for SummerSlam. This is like way off. Like I'm giving it a 0.001% chance of happening. It would be that the MJF thing is not Austin McMahon. It's not Summer Punk. It's Pillman getting fired just so he could sign with the other one. And he cost Cody his match. Cody, MJF stare down to end SummerSlam.
Yeah,
that happened. I would wear a diaper because I would shit myself.
If that happens, I'm going to punch Joe in the face.
Well,
I'll shit myself.
You know what? I'll take the punch in the face. Could you get my nose so it breaks? I don't have to smell Kevin on the way back.
I would shit
because
myself.
Well, this has been a very.
What's Kevin's prediction? Kevin, you need to predict something stupid.
Well, they did just announce Ric Flair is getting a 2-hour documentary, WWE of unreleased footage. I
have insider information on that after we're done recording. Oh yeah,
after dark.
Something with he'll just show up somehow.
That's not big.
Yeah, and he'll get punched also by Jason when MJF Cody.
Well, Kevin is still.
I think I'll give a real prediction maybe because they already said what Randy versus.
They didn't say anything.
No, I didn't say anything. Randy's still injured.
This is all speculation.
I thought they already said.
No.
Oh.
I said it.
Cody beats Roman.
Wow. It's exciting, Kevin. Your
outside Nissan Stadium by the punch of Jason in the face of Joe.
Again, aim for the nose so I don't have to smell.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't even think about that I was at both of those big events. So curious to see what'll be next. If maybe something, I'll go to something later in the fall, winter, and then something big happens there, and I'm at all 4 nominees. I guess that means I'm the only vote that would matter because I would see it live. One other, this has been a very AEW heavy show.
Worth it.
But I wanted to talk about something that's been popping up on Twitter this week about a potential free agent that could end up in AEW, but I think that he will end up back in WWE, and that would be one Bray Wyatt. His return is imminent. He's been posting some weird photos that if you look very close, there's a fiend head in the mosquito, mosquito's head. His coach on the original NXT was Cody Rhodes. He has issues with Seth Rollins. Could we see Bray Wyatt return at Hell in a Cell? Kevin?
Ooh, okay. I'll say this. Hell in a Cell, it looks average, right? It's either, I think it's really, really good matches, or it's matches that Well, I just came off the Sunday Stunner, so it's very adjacent to a lot of the matches that I saw during that house show event. I think it would give a talking moment because right now, everything we just talked about AEW and MJF for a half hour, right? That would get a lot of talking on WWE. I think if they were maybe waiting for SummerSlam for his return, if he does go back to WWE, I think somehow get him right in that Hell in the Cell. I didn't even think of the Hell in the Cell. I think that's great. I think that would
He could crawl out from underneath.
Something.
Again?
That would be awesome. And then it would get talking on the E, and then you get both huge talking at the same time. It would be a great time to be a fan. I want
Joe, if Bray returns to WWE, is that bigger than this MJF story?
No, it's not
At
bigger.
all?
It's not bigger. The MJF story is bigger because it's like what MJF said. It makes you feel. This is going to be, oh, he's back. That's awesome. Good for him. I'm glad he took a break. I'm glad they figured it out. But it's not bigger.
I forgot who I was talking to, but Joe Negative. I think
that's not negative. It's a big story, but it's not that big.
It'll be huge. Depending on the presentation, it'll be
Mhm.
awesome. Now, look, if he just pops to the bottom, yeah, of course, that ain't that great. But if they do a big production, I think this could be a huge story. If
they'll
Bray
do
Wyatt
it right,
returns.
but is Hell in the Cell as big of a big deal? I mean, when we said the same thing. Oh, Cody coming back. It's kind of like making it like diluted. But then he came back at WrestleMania, and that made it a big deal. This is the only thing that's going to make this bigger is the fact that it's in Chicago, and Chicago always has big moments, and the crowd would be into it more. So I wasn't even
Chicago.
It is in Chicago.
Oh, it
is.
is.
That's why Ali's going to lose, because you always lose championship matches in your hometown. Booker T never won in Houston.
Is it a United Center?
Must be. I don't know.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it could open up to the expect the unexpected, because it's not a big four. It's a premium live event style.
And it's
awesome.
only one match that's Hell in the Cell,
Which is good.
Yeah, at least they didn't do like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
and it's the only one that needs to be in one.
We're not going to do a big Hell in a Cell preview because it's not that great. I just hope that somehow, through the magic of technology, Elias makes a return
via Tupac's hologram.
Oh no, not even that. Like, the match is going on, and all of a sudden you hear the guitar.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Elias. Whether it's on the screen or just audio, or if they have a guy that looks like Elias, like come out on stage. I want that in the worst way, just so that Kevin Owens will officially lose his mind. The Seth Cody match is pretty much the only thing I'm really, really looking forward to. Like I said, we're not going to do a big, preview like we normally do for pay-per-views, but and I think NXT has something on Saturday. Again, haven't watched much wrestling this week other than what I went to. So if there is, that's on Peacock on Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, and this is the end of Roman's pay-per-view streak.
Well, technically, as of now it is. We don't know. Things could change on Friday. Tonight
Card subject to change.
Card subject to change. Like Brian, no showing his idea for a pay-per-view reaction pod and a show that he is the host of. Just I got a work thing. If you're listening, it's every time I've said work thing, it's a finger quotes. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see me do it work thing because as we record on Thursdays, Brian's favorite team, the Boston Celtics, are playing in the NBA Finals. Warriors are going to win in 6, Brian. So fuck you for not being here tonight.
Go Draymond.
Go green, go white. Yeah, we got the Warrior. We're rooting the Warriors too. We got the Spartan.
Yeah, so Brian, that you not showed on your show tonight, all the other people on the show think your team's going to lose. So fuck off.
And he could have brought. Could have made it fun. He could have brought. Bring your kid work day for tonight for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Brett last week was quite the conversation starter, at least at my house. I showed the video. Kevin, we talked before we started recording. Did you show it to him? Did he understand what was happening?
Well, we originally listened at the beginning, and then
Yes.
Brian's like, hey, did you see it? Is that okay? And I'm like, I have not seen the video. I'm like, internet like issues on and off, because we were literally in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And then we got it connected, and I was like, you didn't even have to ask, man. I'm like, that's amazing. It was like right off the bat.
When it comes to kids, we don't want to we don't want to post
sure.
random. We want to make sure it's okay. But
for sure. And I thought he loved it. And just like him, 2 minutes, 3 minutes into something, he just starts wanting to show off. Probably gets that from his dad. But the fact where it was just like, my dad does. when you asked him if he wanted to be a wrestler, next 5 hours, Dad, are you going to be a wrestler? Dad, are you going to be a wrestler? I'm like, no.
And then you threw him into the woods and be like, fuck yeah, I'm a wrestler. Kid.
Well, that's
Give
not
it
the
a job.
That? No, but no, it's fun. He loved it.
Very cool. Did you show like your parents or grandparents? Did they get?
Oh yeah, my mother-in-law actually even commented on the Facebook post. So proud grandma.
Yeah, I mean that I had to do some surgery on that video editing.
Oh, there was a lot.
Brett was running in and out, slamming doors, forgetting to close doors. Your wife popped in for a minute and was like, "Oh my God, Brett's in there." So whether you can go, of course, see Kevin's son Brett on our YouTube channel. Just search That Wrestling Podcast, or the individual Brett video is on our social media at That WrestlePod. You can always go to our whatamaneuver.net store, pick up a shirt, help support the podcast. We are independent. We don't have any backers. So everything you do could help. Go rate, review, share, subscribe, leave comments. All that stuff helps too. Brian, fuck you for not being here. For Kevin, for Joe, I am Jason, and this has been That Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Follow That WrestlePod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3, that's it!